Pour ce Bollywood-là, nous accueillons nos deux journalistes en studio, Alwyn Sangili et Patrick Hilbert, pour notre intervention. Bonjour, c'est à vous, messieurs.
Bonjour Néla. En studio aujourd'hui, nous avons Patrick Hilbert. Patrick, bonjour.
Bonjour Alwyn.
Donc, après une semaine que le Parlement, travaux donc à l'Assemblée nationale aux célébrations du 1er mai, nous retrouvons ce matin avec un private notice question qui est déposé par le leader de l'opposition, Joe Lejonga, et qui a axé l'île autour Maurice. Après l'îlot bénitier qui occupe l'actualité durant ces dernières semaines, nous finissons suivre l'opération nettoyage, notamment qui finit effectuée sur cette île-là par le ministère des Terres et Logements à partir du 17 avril avec l'enlèvement de une structure qui finit installée illégalement par un opérateur qui est sur place. En une semaine, il y a plus de 65 tonnes débris qui finissent enlevés par la société Atix. Finit aussi une opération d'ératisation à cause de un problème de rongeurs qui tiennent à l'eau là. Les bons rappels qui pénalisent l'îlot bénitier, nous avons aussi 48 les autres petites îles comme l'île aux Serres, îlot Margénie, île de la Passe, île Plate, îlot Gabriel, île Ronde, îlot BNH et île des Deux Cocos. Et le leader de l'opposition, puis envie connaît qui bandimoun qui est dans un permis pour opérer l'île là, la durée de ce bail, comment ils peuvent payer par an et ce qu'il l'État pense venir de l'avant avec un cadre légal dans le futur pour qu'il y ait un meilleur monitoring de mon activité commerciale l'île là.
Et puis il y a aussi plusieurs textes de loi à l'agenda, donc le Constitution Amendment Bill et le Criminal Code Amendment Bill, donc c'est deux textes de loi qui marchent ensemble, donc ça pour introduire en première lecture. Ensuite le Public Inquiries Bill, donc un débat pour continuer, ça texte de loi et probablement pour une adoption ce soir. Au niveau de le PMQT, important, il y a la députée Babita Tanou qui donnera le coup d'envoi de la séance des questions adressées au Premier ministre, avec une interpellation sur le Smart City Scheme. Donc, il y a envie de connaître si l'État peut considérer d'enlever une exemption fiscale pour une compagnie qui est engagée dans ce type de projet-là. Kaviraj Rukni, député du numéro 5, l'IP envie de connaître le nombre de contrats obtenus par la société VD Frontier Solutions Limited durant la période 2015 à 2024. C'est une question qui a deux volets, Alwyn. D'une part, la valeur de contrat obtenu. Et deuxièmement, est-ce que les procédures de procurement, d'appel d'offres ont été scrupuleusement suivies dans chacun de ces contrats? À noter que le député Francky Kira peut venir avec une question, la libéralisation des ondes, donc sans doute sa question pour axer l'introduction de la télé privée, donc ça c'était quelque chose qui était dans le programme gouvernemental, l'introduction de la télé privée. Et puis ensuite, Alwyn?
Donc nous prenons aussi le député du MMM du numéro 8, Govindan Venkatasamy, qui peut venir avec une question sur toutes les conditions concernant l'attribution d'une licence bancaire à la Silver Bank, la banque qui nous rappelle sous administration depuis le 13 février 2024. Puis nous avons aussi une question intéressante du député Ashley Ramdas, député travailliste, qui connaît avec une question l'ex-directeur de l'ICAC, de la défunte ICAC, qui est remplacé par la FCC. On le sait. Donc, qui tisse salaire, qui ban bénéfice les types gagnés, et aussi le nombre de voyages qu'il est fin effectués entre 2016 à 2024, quand il tient à la tête de l'Institut anti-corruption. Et Patrick, avant qu'il nous continue, nous reviendrons donc la question de Kaviraj Rukni concernant les contrats obtenus par la société VD Frontier Solutions Limited. Nous rappelle qu'il s'accompagne là, ce nom est cité dans quelques affaires qui finissent faire l'actualité récemment du côté de la FCC, notamment tout ce qui concerne Pulse Analytics, le contrat qui a été l'argent qui a été donné par la MIC, 48 millions de roupies, si on ne pas trompé, et aussi dans la vente des shares de l'hôtel à Pavou, que là aussi VD Frontier Solutions Limited, le Transaction Advisor.
Oui, effectivement, VRD Frontier Solutions, c'est un nom qui nous peut tendre, qui peut circuler depuis quelques temps, donc, mais seulement pas fin de gagner beaucoup de renseignements concrets, sa compagnie-là. Donc, à travers cette question qu'Avera Choukni peut envie de faire toute la lumière sur cette question. Par rapport à la question du député travailliste Ashley Ramdas sur l'ex-directeur de l'ICAC, de la FCC, Navin Bikari, donc ça aussi, à lui, c'est une question qui finit posée souvent par l'opposition durant ces derniers 10 ans. Hein.
Oui.
Mais jamais pas fini n'a aucune réponse sur le salaire, sur le package salarial. Donc très probablement, aujourd'hui, le Premier ministre Navin Ramgoolam pourrait répondre pleinement sa question-là.
Aussi peut-être pour un focus, nous pousser un élément nouveau concernant la Silver Bank. Nous rappelle c'est la banque qui assez sulfureuse de par l'attribution de sa licence à Bandimoun et ce qui finit une due diligence exercise qui finit faire l'os à la banque là. Et aussi, nous rappelle qu'il c'est la banque qui, sous administration depuis plus qu'un an maintenant.
Donc la Silver Bank, c'était l'ancienne Banyan Tree.
Oui.
Donc ça finit racheté, une vine Silver Bank. Silver Bank, une vine beaucoup dans l'actualité, notamment avec l'affaire Mercantile Maritime. Donc quand la STC Tidiman justement Tidiman Maritime ouvert un compte en banque au niveau de la Silver Bank par rapport à le contrat d'approvisionnement de pétrole. Donc c'est un contrat qui nous fait beaucoup jaser ces derniers jours, ces dernières semaines, avec la FCC notamment, qui nous fait une enquête là. Peut-être aussi nous sommes capables d'élaborer un texte de loi.
Oui.
Donc le Public Inquiries Bill. Donc, vendredi 21 mars, le Conseil des ministres valide l'introduction du Public Inquiries Bill. C'est un projet de loi qui vise à abroger la Commission of Inquiry Act et puis remplacer par un cadre juridique qui est plus transparent, plus solide, pour faciliter une enquête publique sur un sujet d'intérêt majeur pour la société. Aussi, au lieu d'instituer une commission d'enquête, donc c'est une board of inquiry qui peut mettre en place, qui n'a pas de pouvoir élargi. Et donc ça veut dire aussi une nouvelle disposition pour introduire.
Et toujours pour plus de transparence, pour le public qui peut gagner accès aux preuves présentées ou produites lors de l'enquête judiciaire. Et tout aussi important, le fait que ce projet de loi-là stipule qu'une copie des conclusions d'une enquête public pour capable être déposé à l'Assemblée nationale. Et nous allons tout de suite en direction du Parlement avec l'hymne national.
Announcements.
Honourable Prime Minister.
It is with deep regret that we learned of the demise of Mr. Ramdev Singh Jadoo, more popularly known as Ramnath Jadoo, former Member of Parliament, on Monday, 28th of April, at the age of 87. Born on the 31st of December 1937 in Dagotier, Mr. Ramnath Jadoo completed his primary schooling at Saint-Enfant-Jésus, RCA. He then attended Newton College and Universal College for his secondary education, and later earned a Bachelor of Science in Economics from the University of London. Mr. Jadoo started his professional career in 1957 as a primary school teacher. In 1962, he joined Mauritius Times as a journalist, and in the 70s, he served as a rector of the Eden College. On the political front, Mr. Jadoo contested the 1976 general election for the Legislative Assembly under the banner of the Mouvement Militant Mauricien in constituency number 10. Montagne Blanche, Grand River Southeast. He was then returned as first member. In April 1977, he was elected municipal councillor and subsequently became mayor of the town of Beaubassin-Rosil, a position he held until the 22nd of December 1978. He stood for the 1982 general election for the Legislative Assembly in the same constituency, that is number 10, under the banner of the Alliance MMM-PSM, and was returned as second member. After the election, Mr. Jadou was appointed Minister of Education, a portfolio which he held until March 1983. He was then appointed Ambassador of Mauritius to France from 83 to 87. In August 87, he stood for the general elections in constituency number 13, Rivière des Anguilles-Souillac, under the banner of Alliance MSM Mauritius Labour Party, and he was returned as second member. In September 1987, he became Minister of Works, a portfolio which he held until the dissolution of Parliament in August 1991. He contested the 1991 election in the same constituency, number 10, under the banner of the Alliance MSM-MMM, and he was returned as first member. He was reappointed Minister of Works, a portfolio which he held until 1992. I must add, Madam Speaker, I was the leader of the opposition from 91 to 95, and I remember him as being very courteous towards the opposition and always answering questions that we asked and did not dilly-dally with long answers as we had become used to afterwards. Madam Speaker, Mr. Jadou was thereafter assigned the portfolio of Minister of Manpower Resources and Vocational Training and Technical Training and served in that position until November 1994. He then served as Minister of External Affairs until November 1995. Madam Speaker, Mr. Jadou's political acumen was acknowledged by the Organization of African Unity, now the African Union, when he was tasked to be in the very select group of mediators to unravel the political turmoil in Burundi in 1995. He also played an instrumental role in the adhesion of the Mauritius to the Southern African Development Community, that is SADC. Madam Speaker, Mr. Jadou was one of the founders of the Mauritius Economic Society, which was set up in 1962, with a vision of preparing the youth to face post-independence challenges. He remained until recently an active member of that society. He was also the author of the book, Gaining a Competitive Edge. He was very active in the Global Rainbow Foundation, an association which supports the disabled through education and training. Madam Speaker, may I now kindly request you to direct the acting clerk to convey the deep condolences of the Assembly to Mrs. Jadou and the bereaved family. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. Honourable
Madam
Deputy.
Speaker, with your permission, I
Yes.
join with what the Honourable Prime Minister has said. Thank you.
Thank you. Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, on behalf of the opposition, I fully associate myself to the tribute paid by the Honourable Prime Minister to late Ramdat Singh Jadou. Madam Speaker, may I kindly request you to direct the acting clerk of the National Assembly to convey our deep condolences to the bereaved family. Thank you.
Thank you, Leader of the Opposition. Honourable Members, I associate myself with this tribute paid to the memory of late Ramdat Singh Jadou, former Member of Parliament, by the Honourable Prime Minister, the Honourable Deputy Prime Minister, and the Leader of the Opposition. I have known, of course, late Ramdat Singh Jadou personally in the various capacities mentioned by the Prime Minister, and I therefore direct the acting clerk to convey my personal deep condolences as well as those of the Assembly to the bereaved family. Thank you. Honourable Members, under announcement, I have an announcement to make. In regard to the parliamentary committee set up for the monitoring of the financial Crimes Commission. Pursuant to Section 29(2) of the Financial Crimes Commission Act, the Honourable Prime Minister designated the following honourable members to serve on the Parliamentary Committee. Honourable Danyeshwar Damri, Junior Minister of Finance, Honourable Chitradat Singh Lakiram, Honourable Chetan Anand Babulal, Honourable Mrs. Roxana Colette, and the Honourable Babita Tanu. I also have to inform that pursuant to the same provisions of the Financial Crimes Commission Act, the Honourable Leader of the Opposition has designated himself and the following honourable members to serve on the said committee. Please, Honourable Adrien Charles Duval, Opposition Whip, and Honourable Jean-Patrice Franco-Quirin. This is according to law, members. Moreover, pursuant to Section 1293 of the Financial Crimes Commission Act, the Honourable Prime Minister has designated Honourable Damri to act as chairperson of the said committee. Thank you.
Papers have been laid. Questions?
Yes, Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I've given notice of the following private question addressed to the Honourable Minister of Housing and Lands, whether in regard to the islets around Mauritius, he will state A, the names of the lessees thereof, indicating the 1, duration and purpose of the leases, and 2, yearly fees payable therefore, and B, if government intends to set up a legal framework to regulate the activities of operators thereon. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honourable Minister of Housing.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'd like to say thank you to the Honourable Leader of the Opposition for this question, which gives me an opportunity to give certain information that I deem vital for not only for the House but also for members, for the members of the public outside. Madam Speaker, I am informed there are 54 islets around Mauritius, out of which 51 are fully owned by the state. 1, îlots, is partly held by the state and is partly freehold. And 2 are privately owned, îlots and île aux Chats. Out of the 52 state-owned islets, 22 are leased, including îlots, 8 are national parks, and 7 are nature reserves under the control of the Ministry of Agro-Industry, Food Security, Blue Economy, and Fisheries. Île de la Passe is a National Heritage Site, îlot Matapan is a public beach, and îlot Bernache is vested jointly in the Ministry of Environment and the Police Department, even though it has not been actually implemented, but there was a decision to that effect. The remaining 12 islets are under the control of my ministry. I am, Madam Speaker, tabling the information requested in Part A of the question. Madam Speaker, with regards to Part B of the question, there is a pressing need, indeed, for the government to establish an institutional framework together with an islet management plan to regulate the activities of economic operators on the islets surrounding Mauritius. There is critical need to ensure the sustainable use of these fragile ecosystems while balancing environmental protection with economic interests, particularly in the tourism and leisure sectors. Îlot Bénitier, for example, will indeed be used as a template for this initiative. Over the past years, the islet has witnessed an increase in unregulated commercial activities, including informal food and beverage operations, unauthorized recreational setups, and structures that are inconsistent with land use and environmental planning principles. These activities have raised concerns regarding sanitation, waste management, environmental degradation, and the preservation of public access and cultural value. Madam Speaker, further to site visits effected there and ongoing cleaning activities being undertaken, just rapidly, as at date, 138.8 tons of waste have been removed from îlots Bénitier. The management template, Madam Speaker, will be replicated to other islets around Mauritius. The aim is to promote a balanced approach that encourages responsible tourism and economic opportunities while preserving the national heritage of our coastal and marine assets. My ministry stands ready to support the development and implementation of this framework in collaboration with relevant stakeholders, including the Ministry of Environment, Ministry of Agro-Industry, Food Security, Blue Economy and Fisheries, it's a long name, and the Ministry of Tourism and Ministry of Local Government. And obviously all those who are ready to contribute positively and give us a helping hand in this matter and the population at large. This is my answer, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Minister. Yes, Leader, your supplementary question.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Since the Honourable Minister in his reply, he made mention of a template for îlots Bénitier. I understand this will be a master plan replicated for other islets at a later stage. Can we know from the Honourable Minister where matters are with regard to the preparation of that master plan and what is the time frame?
With regards to the master plan, the situation is as follows. This matter has been raised at cabinet level. An inter-ministerial committee has been set up, which is chaired by myself, that includes several other ministries, the Ministry of Agro-Industry, Tourism, Environment, and we have technicians who are also meeting in order to come up with the plan, which is precisely the management plan. And that management plan eventually will have to be brought to cabinet for government to take a decision as to what shape the plan will take. Obviously, there are various options that will be placed before cabinet, and it will be for cabinet to decide. Now, as regards the time frame, I can also add that there has been a lot of other meetings chaired by the Deputy Prime Minister in order to assist and help bring all other stakeholders on board. They have had meetings also with les plaisanciers that the Deputy Prime Minister has met in order to try to take on board their views. And all those issues, as we talked about the balancing exercise between the economic reality as well as the environmental situation, all this is being taken into account, and obviously we'll let the technicians come up with a proper management plan before we are to apprise Cabinet of same. Thank you.
Yes. May I ask the Honourable Minister whether that master plan will also take into consideration and assess the potential development, for example, hotel development or commercial development on the islets? On the islet, sorry.
Yes, Minister.
Let me straightforward say one thing. I mean, let me, for example, take the situation of îlots Bénitier, and it's an opportunity to explain. You see, there have been a lot of attempts made in the past in order to come up with a proper management plan. But those have been only attempts, and it has taken political courage in order to start by implementing, by cleaning up one island, and then we are going to follow up onto other islands. Now, with regards to the development of islets, the Honourable Leader of the Opposition should be aware, while he himself was in government, there has been a change in the law that calls now those islets around Mauritius, by the way, which does not even have a proper definition in our statute, what are islets? Okay. And this has to be looked into as well as part of the management plan. We have to have a legal definition of what is an islet. So, while he was himself in government, and I don't mean any wrong or attacking answer, no conflict at this stage, it is that simply, at this stage, at this juncture, it is simply that all those islets have been declared to be now in an environment-sensitive area. And as an environment-sensitive area, the whole idea is that hotels or resorts cannot and should not be built on islets, because our aim and the aim of all responsible government is precisely to protect all those islets. Obviously, there are certain islets that are already leased for 60 years, as he well knows. So on those islets, there are tourism activities because the purpose for which they were leased, it's provided for there. So the less development in line with the Environment Protection Act is what we are going to favor. So as far as Bénitier is concerned, let me put it very clear. We cannot entertain the construction of resorts or hotels on Îlot Bénitier. It has to be returned to nature.
That seems quite complete. Do you want
Yes, of course.
one more?
Yeah, can we know the status of l'Îlot Bénitier? Whether there is a list with regard to Îlot Bénitier? I understand that some time ago, that is around year 2009, there were 2 letters of intent that were issued to a company by the name of Suleiman Nabibakas Company Limited, one for the development of a hotel on the islet, and second, for a plot of land of an extent of 2 arpents and 90 perches on pas géométrique Grande Case Noyale to serve as a land base for the hotel project. Have those letters been cancelled by the ministry?
Let me inform the minister. I'm a bit surprised because
The Leader of the Opposition.
the Honourable Leader of the Opposition, because he was then minister in government that issued a letter of there was a letter of intent that was issued to Nabi Bakas. No, I have the exact dates. You see, as far as the dates are concerned, I have here, there we go. And there were dates here in 2017. A meeting was chaired by the Honourable ex-Vice Prime Minister on the 11th of October 2017, Minister of Tourism, was requested to chair technical committee on Îlot Bénitier to come up with proposals regarding the potential use of the island. On the 29th of November 2017, the Ministry of Tourism submitted a report, and first option was to lease the whole islet to the Société, Nabi Bakas, and the second option was to demarcate the island in 3 parts, namely recreation, hotel development, and conservation. So what happened is that in light of this letter of intent that existed, there have been several letters, and it was for agriculture, coconuts. Okay, but as far as all those letters of intent there have been in history, for the past 10 years, the previous government that the Honourable Leader of the Opposition formed part of let it lie and did not do anything about it and let the situation rot. And it is precisely, and I don't mean it as any criticism, even though it's just factual. They've done nothing with regards to this letter of intent. They've let it rot, and this situation has been encouraged by l'inertie, the inability of the previous government to take any decision with regards to islet management, and in particular, l'Îlot Bénitier. And what did we see in return? 138 tons of debris is now being, as a date, removed from that island. But imagine how did it accumulate over all those years? Can you imagine, Madam Speaker? And what is unfortunate is that people were building concrete structures, toilets, with ceramic toilets all installed on concrete, au vu et au su des autorités à l'époque où le chef de l'opposition d'aujourd'hui était ministre et ça se passait comme si de rien n'était. So this inability to see, or this voluntary refusal to take note, led to this situation today. But then again, I'm sure I can count on the goodwill of the people of Mauritius, including the Honourable Leader of the Opposition, to see and to take note that what we're doing now is indeed proper governance and proper governmental action.
Thank you. One more bite.
Yes, may I request the Minister to clarify something? Do we understand that that company still has an agricultural lease on that islet?
The answer is no. There is no agricultural lease on the islet. There is no lease agreement that was issued. No, precisely because this company had been writing time and time again to the previous government and asking the government to act So instead of renewing or giving them a proper lease for that particular coconut plantation or even any development whatsoever, we end up with Linéa C totally sleeping on the file. But other people close to government were allowed to just go there and do as though it was their private property. Mauritians trading honestly and whom we intend to put in a better situation now were themselves sometimes asked to leave by those qui déclarent la case pas pour eux. So they were pretending that it was theirs when it was not theirs. So right now, we have also had situations, allow me to say that, because I've been reading press reports while the good leader of the opposition was then minister of that government, where drugs were found on the island in Obituary. Under the sand, stashed away. Police have found all this. So this is precisely what we're tackling. So if you want the proof that we are really implementing and taking bold decisions, there you have it.
Thank you. Another one?
Yes, I've got so many, Madam Speaker. This is an important subject. Can the Minister inform the House whether the decision to remove the operators on the islet was a collective decision by Cabinet?
Answer, yes. I have the full support of Cabinet, full support of government, and let me underline, full support of the Prime Minister and full support of the Deputy Prime Minister. I'm supported, or I'm sure I have your support as well.
So long as you do things correctly, you'll have my support. Madam Speaker, Cabinet has decided to authorize some 50 operators to carry out their commercial activities on the islet once cleaning is completed. Can the Honourable Minister inform the House whether his ministry has carried out a survey to assess the number of persons on the islet, knowing that all operators do not have structures on the islet? There are also some other operators.
Let me say for one thing, at this particular juncture, no decision has been taken by Cabinet. However, no Cabinet decision has been taken as regards structures. However,
about
management plan has to come first.
One
now,
moment.
let me explain. There is a survey that has been carried out, joint interministerially. We are carrying out surveys. Then there have been meetings between the operators on the island with the Deputy Prime Minister, and they have given us lists of those who are operating there. So obviously, this is an ongoing process where we have to find out who was operating, what were they operating in, what were they exactly doing. As I've said earlier on, we are cleaning up the place, and it is coming to be returned to nature, beautiful as we speak, because compared to what it was when they were in power. So now, when those operators are going to be allowed there, we're going to give them proper structures. They're going to, what we intend to aim for is them recognized as proper traders, lawfully trading in a place. And what we also, allow me to say that, want to do is that the majority of the island, at least 2/3, this is the plan, and obviously Cabinet has to approve, but the plan and the object here is to return the majority of the island to nature, protected as an environment protected area. And my good friend, the Minister of Agro-Industry, he has experts within his ministry to deal with this. So the Ministry of Environment also is giving a helping hand as a transition period when the management plan is getting ready. So we have taken everyone on board.
Thank you. Yes.
May I refer the Honourable Minister to a Cabinet decision which was taken some 1 week ago, whereby it is stated that some 50 operators would thereafter be authorized to carry out their activities anew on the islet without erecting any permanent structure. There is a Cabinet
That is the
decision.
transitional period that the good Honourable Leader of the Opposition is referring to. That's the transition period. Okay? During that transition period, obviously, we have to allow people, well, I'm not talking about when the final plan comes up. This is different. There were going to be structures then. In the meantime, the Ministry of Environment is going to be responsible for the management of the island, the cleaning up as well. There are going to be operators who will be allowed to go there, but without erecting permanent structures, as the cabinet decision says. And what happens is that once they've already worked during the day, they will be obliged to leave with their structures. We have to keep the island clean for the present and future generation.
May I ask the Honourable Minister whether there was some form of consultation with the operators on the islet before stopping the activities and pulling down the structures?
He said,
we have
already said this.
We have given notice. We have given notice in line with the law, and we did not stick to the minimum delay. We gave more delay than that. And I can assure you as well is that when it was removed, it was ample delay was given, obviously because there were unlawful structures. A decision had to be taken, and a decision was taken, and I am happy that this decision was taken. Now, as far as consultations are concerned, as I've said in my answer earlier on, the Honourable Deputy Prime Minister has had meetings, and I thank him for that with the operators, and we have worked together in order to be able to find solutions where we put the operators in a better situation.
Thank you.
With regard to ongoing cleaning works on the islet, Madam Speaker, can the Honourable Minister inform the House whether operators requested to participate in the cleaning up of the islet and this was turned down by the Minister?
Yes, it is something that I thought it would not be appropriate for operators to clean up, because I was advised, and I'll explain my advice, when it was cleaned up, 138 tons, okay? Imagine a scenario where operators go to help in order to clean up, and I thank them for their goodwill. Imagine a situation where this is an operation led by the Ministry of Housing and Land, since we're custodian of that islet. Imagine someone gets hurt. Who would be responsible? So obviously there are legal impediments. Now morally, it's a beautiful story. Everyone wants to help. But we have to ensure that we respect the law, and that if ever there is anyone who gets injured, that there needs to be responsibility. Here, now we have a proper company that has gone through the process. He has been chosen to clean up. Now, if there is any issue, there is an insurance. So we are covered. This is a simple law which is called the Occupation Safety and Health Issue. So that's all.
Yes.
Yes, Madam Speaker, the press made reference to a meeting between the operators on the islet and the Deputy Prime Minister. Can I know from the Minister, Honourable Minister, whether he was present in that meeting?
No, I was not present at that meeting. However, before going to the meeting, I was informed by the Deputy Prime Minister that there would be such a meeting. As I've said, the Honourable Deputy Prime Minister has been helping out in a big way with regards to bringing out all ministries and operators together in order to facilitate the process. So that the Deputy Prime Minister, number 2 of government, was there, I'm even happy.
I understand that during that meeting, the issue of loss of revenue by the operators was raised. Can the Honourable Prime Minister inform the House whether government is giving due consideration?
I think you mean the Minister.
Yes, I mean, yes.
You still mean the Minister.
I'm asking the Honourable Minister whether government will give due consideration to that request.
You see, I understand the question of the Honourable Leader of the Opposition, and I'm not going to demarcate from what I'm always used to saying, which is very straight answers. Unfortunately, when I hear an answer like that, I call that demagogy. You see, he basically is trying to say that when they were in government, when they were kicking people out, literally kicking people out from plots of land, the then Minister of Housing and Land was giving them compensation. I know people who are waiting for compensation for the past 10 years who were not even entertained. Obviously, our aim here is to put the operators in a better situation. They were not in a good situation. Members of the public were not in a good situation when going onto the island. There were no proper facilities. And therefore, we want to put them in a better situation. And that they are recognized lawful operators. They were not lawful operators, and obviously we cannot give compensation or even consider that element if they are unlawful operators. So we have to be responsible about it, Madam Speaker, and I hope that maybe, if he couldn't do it, when he was minister in the previous government. Let him start doing so now.
Yeah, all right.
My question is simple, Madam Speaker. Some of those families depend solely on those activities. Will government consider giving them some sort of support? That is what I'm asking.
Madam Speaker, I thought I was very clear on this matter. Now, where does the buck stop? Where do we draw the line? Now, everyone can... Then where do we draw the line? I mean, I hear we're not going to pass value judgment on what happened in the past. I recognize, government recognizes that those people are hard-working citizens. Unfortunately, there was no proper structure, regulation, in order to regulate this. Even islets, as I said, is not defined. We are putting things right because we are looking forward. This is what we have to do. Put them in a better position by looking forward.
Okay. Honourable Whip.
Yes, thank you. Madam Speaker, may I ask the Honourable Minister, given that has a survey been undertaken prior to blocking access to the operators? If so, how many operators have been identified as earning a living from îlots bénitiers? And given that the blockage has happened in peak season and that they are now left to fend for themselves without being able to operate, and given that there is no legal impediment for exploitation of the islets today, given that there's no concession, why is it then, how will the minister then, again, compensate those, how many operators you will tell us,
It's the same
for,
question.
for the last...
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
will you please sit down while I'm speaking? You're putting the same question again. Minister, do you want to answer again? Yes?
May I
Yes.
rephrase it? Depending on your answer on the number of operators, if it is more than 50, which you intend on allowing to operate in the future, how will you compensate those other operators that will not be able to fall within the 50? Can you tell us how many there are, and what about the other ones then?
Okay, that is an opportunity to go even further. Let me explain. Number one, there is no issue of compensation. Simple. Let's put it a stop to this whole idea of trying to score cheap political points by talking about it. Please, hold. Now, that they have nothing else to hold on to, I understand. But let's be responsible and reasonable. So now the other issue is how many operators will come there. Now, the operators, they themselves, have met with the Deputy Prime Minister and have met with ministers and have... It was done in parallel. And obviously, 50 or so operators were given, the names were given, and this is not emanating from government, this emanates from the operators themselves. So now there's the exercise by technicians to find out how we could accommodate those 50 environmentally in a sound manner for it not to damage the island. Second issue which we also have to look into is how to have access to the island. The honourable member would know, Madam Speaker, that all the sand around the island does not have any coral anymore. It's all destroyed because all boats come towards the shore, onto the beach. All those issues have to be taken into consideration in order to have a proper protection of these zones around the islands. So as far as the number of operators are concerned, or even the number of visitors that will be allowed to visit on a daily basis, we shall take good note of how other islets are managed in other jurisdictions, for example, Philippines or Thailand, how they put up proper structures to manage islets, not in a way to go for cheap political points, but for generations to come.
Last question. Then Leader of the Opposition, I'm sorry. It's his question. Question time.
Don't fight.
Madame la Présidente, le constat général, c'est une situation de poids et de mesure. My question is, what will government do to rectify that, Madam Speaker?
Minister, we got a few minutes left.
Yes, few minutes. Let me very quick. For 10 years, they've done nothing.
Worse than nothing.
I totally agree. They've done worse than that. So, for one thing, we are going to ensure that it is not an open place for people to go in close to the previous regime and stuff drugs under the sand. One, we are working closely. The Prime Minister has been briefing me and working closely with the Commissioner of Police to ensure that those islets around Mauritius are not used for drug trafficking and for any other illicit business. This is what we're doing. What we are doing as well is not only encouraging those who are the exclusive few known to certain ministers in high quarters to be allowed access to those islands. What we are doing is protecting the environment because we recognize the importance of leaving pour postérité, pour les générations futures, the islets in a proper state than it is today, in a better state tomorrow, but we are also balancing it with operators. Mauritius is important, not kitchen politics like they did.
Members, we are done with this question. Time is almost up. There's no time for question and answer. So I think we shall move on. Yes. Now I call on...
Retour en studio, donc la PNQ qui tient axée l'eau banil aux alentours de Maurice, tout autour de Maurice. Et bien sûr, Patrick finira la réponse de Shakil Mohamed.
Oui, donc Shakil Mohamed finit expliquer dans sa réponse initiale qu'il y a 54 îlots autour de Maurice, 51 sont propriétés fully owned by the state, et il y a certains comme l'îlot qui est partly owned by the state et partly owned by private entities.
Il y a 2 îles qui privées, donc voilà. L'îlot Chat et l'îlot Fortier.
L'îlot Fortier, il y a 22 îlots qui loués, oui. Il y a 8 natural parks. Et ensuite, il y a plusieurs îles.
Oui. Réserve nationale.
Et l'île de la Passe, c'est une Natural Historical Site. Donc, il expliquait qu'il y a un besoin pressant pour un institutional framework et un management plan pour gérer ces îlots. Parmi les bonnes raisons, c'est surtout écologique. Donc, le gouvernement a envie de préserver ce îlot-là comme un bon bijou pour une future generation.
Nous avons ressenti le souci du ministre Shakil Mohamed de toujours faire la part des choses entre l'environnement et les activités commerciales, bizarre un juste équilibre, dire.
Oui, voilà. Mais aussi, ils mettent beaucoup l'importance, l'emphase justement sur l'héritage de ce îlot-là. Donc, ça doit être des héritages pour les générations futures. Donc, il n'est pas question d'aller
répéter les mêmes erreurs.
Répéter les mêmes erreurs du passé. D'ailleurs, l'Indien par rapport à l'îlot bénitier, parce qu'une grosse partie de la question était sur l'îlot bénitier, enfin des questions additionnelles du leader de l'opposition, Jules Jongor. Donc, l'Indien qui l'îlot bénitier, par exemple, pas pour un hotel development là. Donc, parce que pendant plusieurs années, il y a beaucoup de flou, il y a beaucoup de spéculation. Est-ce qu'il vous consomme l'hôtel là? Est-ce qu'il vous service certains îlots pour une villa privée qui peuvent vendre à des étrangers, wealthy foreigners? Donc,
il n'a pas autant de précision aussi concernant une question de Joe Lejonga, le leader de l'opposition, s'agissant de l'existence ou pas d'un bail accordé pour du développement agriculturel, c'est-à-dire l'implantation de cocotiers. Donc, Shakil Mohamed finit très clair là-dessus. Non, il n'y a pas de bail à ce sujet.
Oui, parce que au cause de la société Suleiman Nobuakos, donc Joe Jogor finit demander si en 2009 finira 2 letters of intent qu'il issued. Donc le ministre finit dire qu'il est très surpris par sa question-là. Il remet un petit peu une date
en perspective, parce que les lettres sont arrivées au moment où c'était l'ancien régime qui était en place.
Voilà, donc il peut dire qu'en 2017, 11 octobre 2017, il y a un meeting avec l'ancien VPM, ministère des Terres.
Steven Obigadou.
29 novembre 2017, il y a encore une fois le ministère du Tourisme qui tient un meeting. Il y a une lettre qui finit émettre. Mais seulement, il peut dire, voilà, pendant 10 ans,
rien n'a été fait.
Voilà. Donc,
ça n'a pas bougé.
Voilà, il dit carrément que l'ancien régime a laissé la situation pourrir. Voilà. Donc, il laisse Bandimoun construire concrete structures, ben, structures permanentes, ben, toilettes, et tout ça au vu et au su des autorités, parce qu'ils, bon, ben là, ils se sont lavé les mains, hein, c'est ce qu'ils font.
Et nous révélons le master plan donc, qui est en préparation pour l'îlot bénitier. Le ministre Shakil Mohamed dit que sa master plan a pour servir donc de test case et nous sommes capables de répliquer l'îlot dans les autres îles. Ça, voilà. De la conservation environnementale. Et aussi, nous retenions aussi de multiples questions de Joe Le Jonga qui reviennent à la charge plusieurs fois concernant est-ce que le gouvernement prêt pour accorder une compensation donc, financière à un opérateur qui n'a pas été capable de travailler. Et là aussi, le ministre Shakil Mohamed a été très clair dans sa réponse. Non, il n'est pas question de compensation parce que nous avons évoqué tout à l'heure comment on compense un dimoun qui passe à une licence d'opération, quelque chose qui est un peu illégal. Et aussi, autre point intéressant, c'est la proposition qui avait été faite par les opérateurs, on le rappelle, qui ont envie de donner un coup de main dans l'opération de nettoyage. Et là aussi, le ministre des Terres et Logements fin très concis dans sa réponse pour dire qu'ils n'ont pas capable à cause de sa demande-là, qui fait parce que pour une question de sécurité, si jamais Mandimoun là, t'es blessé ou tu arrive quelque chose de plus grave, alors que tu peux nettoyer, c'est pas type couvert. Question d'assurance. Quoi.
Et d'ailleurs, quand on peut cause nettoyage, le ministre Shakil Mohamed fin préciser qu'il a jusqu'à l'heure 138,8 tonnes de débris qui ont été enlevés.
Et c'est pas terminé.
Et c'est pas encore terminé. Ouais. Joe Les Jonga fin demander, est-ce qu'il y a un time frame pour qu'un opérateur capable de recommencer ce travail là. Là, il n'est pas fin de dire aucun time frame, donc les pannes précisent ce point-là. Et puis, Joe Les Jonga aussi vient demander comment on vient avec le chiffre de 50 opérateurs. Est-ce qu'il finit dans une survey auparavant? Comment on vient avec ce chiffre-là? Donc là, il finit expliquer, le ministre, qui ce chiffre-là, donc finit dans une survey d'une part, mais d'autre part aussi, c'est un opérateur eux-mêmes qui nous donne une cinquantaine de noms. Est-ce qu'il Adrien Duval, donc le whip de l'opposition, lui aussi finit de demander est-ce qu'il peut avoir une compensation, mais pour s'il y a plus que 50 opérateurs, si vous les 50 opérateurs opérés, mais s'il y a plus que 50 opérateurs, c'est ça qui est en plus et qui n'est pas pour capable de revenir là. Est-ce qu'ils ont pour gagner une compensation? Donc là aussi, c'est
mais
très
vous pensez, il y a important, Patrick, qui le comité interministériel, il est pour capable d'assiser, réfléchir, analyse la situation et guetter quel est le nombre, peut-être, qui idéal pour une petite île comme l'île au Bénitier? Quel est le nombre d'opérateurs? Parce que au-delà de 50, même 50, il paraît beaucoup. Hein.
Mais là-dessus aussi, il faut préciser, Shakil Mohamed, qui 2/3 de l'îlot bénitier will be returned to nature and will be protected.
Nous relève ça aussi. Et donc, voilà, grosso modo, sur la partie de la PNQ, donc, qui est là ce matin. Mais nous notons aussi, nous revenons là-dessus, très important, l'hommage rendu par le Premier ministre, Nabil Ramgoulam, en début de séance, à Feu Ramdat Djadou, donc, qui quitte nous la semaine dernière à l'âge de 87 ans. Donc le Premier ministre fait donc l'éloge de Ramdat Djadou, revient ce parcours politique. Nous rappelle qu'il c'était un député et ministre, ancien ministre de l'Éducation, brièvement durant la période 82-83. Ensuite, à partir de 1987, Ramdat Djadou est aussi ministre des Travaux. Et aussi, durant après les élections de 1991, il occupe donc le même portefeuille des Travaux jusqu'en 1992.
Et puis en 1995, il finit ministre des Affaires étrangères. Il finit aussi le maire de Beaubassar aux îles en 77 jusqu'à 22 décembre 78. Oui. Il finit aussi ambassadeur de France.
Exactement.
Ambassadeur de Maurice en France plutôt.
Ambassadeur de Maurice en France. Et en 95, le Premier ministre relève sa intervention qui rend de Djadou faire, notamment lorsqu'il tient un problème politique au Burundi.
Et puis aussi, il faut souligner que Ramdat Djadou avait un rôle, instrumental role, dans l'adhésion de Maurice au niveau de la SADC, et qui après, il finit un des fondateurs de la Mauritius Economic Society, et il finit aussi un membre très actif de l'ONG Global Rainbow Foundation.
Et avant de terminer, une annonce importante faite par Shirin Omi Odi Zifra, donc la speaker, concernant la constitution du Parliamentary Committee qui va s'occuper de la Financial Crimes Commission, FCC, donc avec un comité qui sera présidé par Daneshwa Adamri, le député du numéro 8, et comme membres, nous aurons les députés Kevin Lekiram, Chetan Baboulal, Roxana Colette, Babita Tanou, et aussi quelques membres de l'opposition, notamment le leader de l'opposition, Jolo Jonga, Adrien Duval, et aussi le député Franco Quirin. Voilà donc Patrick, merci beaucoup pour cette collaboration ce matin. Et nous dire, nous, auditeurs et auditrices, bien sûr, continuent à suivre l'actualité sur les chaînes de Radio Plus. Merci, au revoir.